our our next presenter, it is Kenny. So Kenny is a person that works with the University of Washington, specifically with ASEAN cities. And today he will be talking about the way how ASEAN cities provide a small business recovery and a growth through a playbook for minority and owned businesses. So, Kenny, thank you for being here with us today. I appreciate you to network in today um, event, and I believe that you have the capacity to share your screen. So, welcome, Kenny.
Thank you. Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me. Sorry I was a bit late. Had a few fires to put out, but that seems like the new normal for 2020.
Right.
Um, so as Samuel said, I am Kenny Shelton. I am the Assistant Director for the Consulting and Business Development Center at the University of Washington. I am also the Assistant Director for Ascend Cities. The Consulting and Business Development Center is basically the external facing outreach center for the business school. We work with, excuse me, we work with people of color owned businesses through various consulting projects. We help them with, growth strategies, financial management stuff. We have partners with financial institutions, and we do kind of access to capital classes and different things like that. Anyway, we can turn kind of our institutional, oops, sorry. Sorry. Let me ignore that. I cannot ignore that.
Nor can. Could be worse, man.
There's a day.
Technology,
Yeah.
like looking for a needle in the haystack.
Yeah, it is. Sorry about that. So what was I saying? Our center. Yeah. So we use our students as consultants. We work with MBAs just to give our businesses more hands-on attention. And because of the businesses who we work with, they don't get a lot of hand-holding. They don't have access to a lot of resources. So we try to, spend extra care and attention for them. So let me share my screen now and stop blabbing. Okay, let's present this thing. Where's the actual presentation? As you can see, I'm a rookie with technology, so bear with me, y'all. Is this it?
Yeah.
No, that's not it. Where is present?
It should be down at the bottom.
Ah.
There you go. That little screen right there. There you go. Click.
Sorry about that.
Click that little movie screen. There. There you go.
Look at that. It takes a village. Okay. So recovery to sustainable growth. So I told you all about the Consulting Business Development Center. Our whole goal is to advance student careers and help these minority-owned small businesses get to a level of, we like to say, cross the $1 million threshold. So earlier this year in March, as everyone, kind of the world was hit with, the pandemic, unprecedented business shutdowns, all kind of health-related issues, craziness, right? So we had a team of 30 students who kind of wanted to help our small business community out. So we had one of our professors, Liz Tinkham. She was a former Accenture consultant, senior management consultant. She ran a Microsoft account, but she helped these students basically ascertain what our small businesses were hurting from through different surveys. And we can get to that right here. So through different surveys, we asked kind of what exactly is your small business struggling from? What are the things you need? And what's top of mind for you? What industry are you in? What are you worried about going forward? So we had pretty good response rate. As you can see here, we talked to people in 13 cities. due to our Ascend network. So, sorry, I didn't explain our Ascend network. So, Ascend network is essentially a national ecosystem of business support organizations who are looking to grow people of color owned businesses beyond that $1 million mark. So we have partners in Atlanta, Bay Area, Houston, LA, DC. And basically our method with that is how can we tap other business schools, across the nation to then do the same thing that we're doing and turn our institutional power into the community to help to develop these underserved businesses in these underserved communities. So with this network, we're able to reach all these different people in our early learnings, and some of this is what you can imagine. There was difficulty navigating the financial landscape. What loans do I apply for? What things do I go to? What's worth it? What's not? There's a huge drop in demand. There was employee safety dilemmas. How can I bring back my employees? A lot of folks were furloughed and still furloughed to this day. There's a ton of supply chain disruptions with the shutdowns. There was a ton of people who were forced to pivot online, move their whole operation digital, which has been a pain point for a lot of people. And there's some folks who actually had to pivot their whole selling strategy from like B2C or B2B or different things like that. So what our students did was basically compile all this information and this data and these learnings, and they categorized it into strategic insights by industry. So currently, our students, and rightfully so, they had the foresight to know that there's going to be 3 phases. There was the onset where everything was shut down, everything was on fire, the sky was falling, right? And then there's this next phase of oscillation where there's going to be a lot of opening and closing. Unfortunately, we saw the closing this week where things are back down to 25%. And there's eventually going to be a time of new openings. So they have strategic insights and recommendations based on each phase that's outlined here. And we'll get to that when I show you the actual website. We're just kind of walking through like the methodology and whatnot here. So there's 3 key uses of this playbook. There's strategic and industry insights. So it's basically if you're in the food and beverage industry, what's changing for you, what's working across your industry, what are the safety regulations in your industry, that kind of information. And then the business continuity section is, okay, we know we're going to have to plan for some kind of business interruption going forward. What kind of things can I implement into my business now that'll protect me later down the line? And then the third section is resources and tools that we found valuable from talking to our businesses across the nation, seeing success stories from across the nation, and we kind of compiled all those into one section. So let me drop this for you here in the chat. If I can find this chat. Thank y'all for y'all patience. Chat here. Okay. Here is the website. Okay. And let me change my screen. Aha. So when you land on the website, this is what it looks like. Solutions for a Stronger Tomorrow. Here's the 3O model that I talked about, the onset, oscillation, open. So you're able to pick kind of by industry. If you want for strategic insight, let's just go to construction, for example. So when you go to construction, there's a section, what's changed? Job sites changing, technology's changing, costs are changing, supply chain evolution. So it has little tips and things to discuss what's the new normal. There's recommendations on how you should recover based on what phase it's in. Again, this is all compiled by our students and partners from across the nation. Different phases, places to check for guidelines to make sure you're compliant. Just a ton of information. There's success stories from people in our network There's tools to adapt if you're in, this construction industry, and then there's other useful industry resources listed here. So that's one idea of what a strategic insights per section would look like. If you were to go to business continuity, there's other tools and tips here: how to develop a business continuity plan, how to revisit your finances, pandemic planning, what we learned in the past. So there's a ton of valuable information here that we're still working with some UX designers to kind of source some of the most pertinent information up to the top, because it's so dense, if you will. There's a ton of information. So if you go to resources and tools, you'll see there's financial aid, digital tools, community resources, marketing tools, legal and bankruptcy information. If the unfortunate event happens where you have to file bankruptcy, we kind of walk you through, what it means, what the difference is between the different, filings, all that good stuff. And there's things that you can download, further resources you can download. So extremely valuable tool that our students built. We're continuing to refine it, so the information is still pertinent, up to date, useful for all those who need it. And yeah, that is pretty much my presentation. Thank you for joining my TED Talk. And I guess I'll take questions.
So Kenny, if somebody's got a business and it's in some kind of stage of crisis or at least stress, can they just say, hey, Kenny, what do I do? Or should they go here to a link and start shopping around? I mean, how accessible are you to help with that process?
Yes. So I'm basically here to play triage, right? So if somebody reaches out through our website and says, hey, my business is on fire, I need help right now, beyond, kind of what you've laid out, we're able to either help internally at University of Washington or refer to kind of our partner network with like Business Impact Northwest, Craft 3, King County Library System, and kind of help play triage and kind of send folks to the help that they can get, or they need, I should say.
Sometimes it's helpful to scope to clarify some of the things that you're not. Well, we want to keep it in a positive tone, but are there kinds of questions that's not in scope for you to be helpful?
So legal, I guess, would be out of scope in a sense.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
Legal would be the most difficult, but we do have like an entrepreneurial law clinic at the University of Washington that deals with COVID-related issues. So we'd be able to connect you with resources who could address those things. And we have like pro bono services as well tied to the university. So we'll still be able to be a pretty good matchmaker if we can't help directly. Our network is pretty rich, so we lean on the network.